Recently, I've been creating signs with the universe, and it's been such a profound experience to receive these that I both want to share the story with you about the sign and also how you can create a sign with the universe in your own life. As a psychic medium and energy intuitive, someone who's been doing this work for over 7 years in practice and studying for over a decade, I've had my fair share of working with the universe for signs and not always seeing them come to life in the way I expected or even at all. And over that time, I've really come to understand why it takes a certain perspective and a way to connect and create these signs with the universe in a way that is both empowered and surrendered. I'm going to teach you how I do this so that you can put it into practice in what way feels right in your own life. And as a psychic medium and someone who is constantly connecting with my team in really fun, unique, and quirky ways, I like to share this because I do believe the spirit world has a good sense of humor. And when we work with that sense of humor, we're very much open to signs, more so than if we are just living in this energy of seriousness. So, the first step with this sign, with asking for signs, is to get clear on why you are asking for it. Not just that this would be nice or I need this or I deserve this. No, not that energy, but the why, the soul level why. Why do you want this sign? Why does it matter to you? What does it help you affirm that you already know? Here's where I think signs are very different than we expect them to be. Oftentimes, we ask for signs so that a decision can be made for us, instead of asking for signs to affirm a decision that we already know and help us know if we're on the right path or if we're connecting with who we think we're connecting with. When I've asked for signs to help me make a decision and put it in the hands of spirit or my team or the universe, it did not go well. But when I asked for signs affirming or confirming what I really felt was like the right choice in my heart, in my soul, then the sign showed up unequivocally every single time. So if you're in the energy of your why the sign feels important to you, why you feel like you deserve it, why this sign is important to you, why it matters to you, and why you're asking for it, it's a much different energy than more of this energy of grasping or feeling deserved of a sign. So get clear on your why. Go ahead and write it down and get really clear. Why am I asking for this sign? You can list out all the things and all the reasons, and then the universe and you are working in conjunction together for this sign to be received by you. There's a lot of different reasons people ask for signs: for confirmation and direction, for help and assistance, for confirming they're on the right path, or when they're really having a hard time deciding what's next. The other one that's really beautiful is if you're connecting with a loved one who has passed, a loved one in the spirit world, and you're just really wanting affirmation of their existence or that they're there with you, and a gentle and loving reminder that they're always around. And the relationship has just changed over time and it is working from a different plane of existence. And so loved ones in spirit can get signs to us actually through their strengths of when they were alive as well, through their strengths of when they were with us in the living world. And so if your loved one in spirit had a strength, or if you have a strength, this is the next part of the exercise, which is number two, to get clear, not on your, which is number two. So you've gotten clear on your why. And now your job is to say, okay, what are my strengths? How do I receive things? And then similarly, if you're communicating with a loved one, what were their strengths and how did they best communicate in their lived experience? So maybe they loved music or dancing, or they were great in the tangible. They loved working with their hands or doing things with woodwork. I'll give you an example that my loved one in spirit, my grandfather, he was a builder. He liked to build furniture. He liked to work with his hands. And one of the signs that I always worked with him was asking for sawdust. And when I was doing this, the first sign I had asked for sawdust was a woodpecker came overnight and had pecked a bunch of holes in the tree outside of our house. And the next day I left the garage and I looked down and there was a pile of sawdust on the ground at the base of this tree. And I said, okay, Grandpa, I hear you. I see you. More sawdust. How big can you get this? The next time that I was diverted on a route and I was driving to a lake, we took a route that wasn't on GPS, but was diverted, and we felt like we wanted to go the more scenic way. So we chose the more scenic direction, having never driven there before. And as we were driving by, I smell sawdust coming through the air vents. And I look up and see this massive pile of sawdust because it had rerouted us by a sawmill. And I said, okay, more sawdust. Let's see what you can do, being very playful with it. The next time I was driving through a field from an appointment in a location 30 minutes away with my child, a place that I'd never been before. And I was driving through farmland, and all of a sudden I look over, and in the middle of this farm were these two mountains of sawdust. I have no idea why they were there. I have no idea how they got there or what they were, but I laughed out loud and said, "Thank you, Grandpa. I love this. Can you show me sawdust every time we need to know that we are safe or loved or are okay, or just really affirming?" The fourth time this really happened, and I'm sharing this because it really is part of the process and important, is we had a medical situation with my child, and I was looking out the window of the hospital quite worried. And as I was looking down over the river that we lived on, passing by underneath the window was a massive barge. And if you could guess what is on top, was an entire barge of sawdust. I laughed a little and I cried a little, and I thanked my grandfather, my loved one in spirit, who does a lot of this work with me as a medium. And I thanked him for looking over us and affirming to me that everything would be okay. And in fact, it was very much okay. So, number two is working with the communication styles that you have and working with your loved ones as to what they loved in their living world, because they can get more playful with it and they can really utilize the skills and ways that you've known them to connect with them and bring that awareness closer together. So think about the skills that you have. Think about the ways that you really, 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 receive information, ask for information, the things you love in the world, and make that your signs. I've been loving numbers, so my sign was around numbers. Maybe you love lyrics or words or colors or animals or visions or imagery, whatever that is for you. Create the sign based on something that's unique and dynamic for you. And you can then go to step number three, which is put some parameters around it. I'm only breaking it down into steps because it makes it really easy if you've never done this before, but it really is truly a dynamic experience and there's no right or wrong way to do it. This is just a bit of a framework that can help you and help you understand how to do it. Number three is put some parameters around it. So I like to say, okay, I would love to see this in this form or in this type of way, whether it's tangible, or maybe I say, I don't care how I see it. I just want it to show up in whatever fun and playful ways it is. I also remain open to the variance of it. So this is again around parameters. Maybe you're asking for a specific colored or type of flower. Do you have parameters where you really want this to show up? Like, I would love to see this flower in person, or I would love the smell to waft by me with somebody's perfume. However that feels really connected and loving for you, you can ask for those parameters and just be open to the creative and interesting ways that spirit has this sign show up for you. Even if it's a little different from how you asked for it, it's within a lot of those parameters. So you've done these major steps, and the next one is to surrender. You're like, okay, what do you mean surrender? I just asked for all of this and now I have to let go. Yes, you get to let go. When we form attachments to signs, we often can form the energy of frustration and or fear that it will not show up. And if we have frustration and fear that it will not show up, we block ourselves from all the avenues of receiving it because it's in this energy of perfection. And when we're in this energy of perfection, it's nothing wrong. It's okay. We all do it. But at the same time, we do block ourselves without knowing it. Spirit doesn't work in the ways we believe it works. Sometimes it shows up at a different time in a different way. And oftentimes, I have to be honest, we are busy in our lives and we overlook the signs when they're right in front of us and we don't quite catch them. So sometimes they've passed us 20 times and we haven't caught it. And it takes 22, 23, 24 times for spirit to get our attention and for us to realize the sign was with us all along. So if you're like, oh, I set this sign and it didn't show up, there's a couple things you can do. Give it a little more time. Start to train your awareness to where it might show up and just lovingly look around and be aware of your surroundings and be aware of all the things in the environments you go in. So maybe you go into a bookshop or a cafe. You might tune in to conversations around you if you feel called to. Like if you just say, oh, that's an interesting word, I might listen into this. Or you might listen more clearly to the music that comes on in those spaces when you walk in. This will often get your awareness really quickly. So you might be mid-conversation and then all of a sudden you'll hear that first lyric or that word and you'll know right away that you need to pay attention. Spirit has a really beautiful way of getting our attention and holding it when that sign is arriving for us. The other aspect of this is I have set signs where they did not come up, they did not come true. And then not receiving a sign in the last piece of it is actually the best sign. So if you have set a sign but you haven't received it, it does not mean that your loved one isn't there. And it does not mean that your spirit team isn't there. It just means that the absence of the sign can also confirm something, or you can go back and redo it and think about the energy and the why and the parameters and really start to feel into if it was the sign you felt most called to ask for, anyways, or if it's the one you felt you should ask for. I understand that whenever you're asking for a sign, there's always that feeling of what if it doesn't show up? And then the fear of like, what if it feels like my loved one isn't there with me? And as a practitioner doing this work and reading for people all over the world, I can tell you I understand that fear firsthand and I've experienced what that is. But just know that sometimes our loved ones are communicating with us in other ways that we might overlook because we're so trained on this one sign. So, the thing I like to ask when I end this is, okay, loved ones, okay, universe, this is the sign I'm asking for. This is the one that's dropped in. This or something better. This or something more aligned. This or something more attuned. Maybe, for instance, you ask for your loved one's favorite song to come on, and instead you see someone on TV doing a dance. And that dance, for instance, for me with a certain loved one, my Nana in spirit, the ballroom dance, I would immediately think, oh, I've seen her in a gown like that. I've seen her do a dance like this. This is so random that I'm seeing this ballroom dance. So, really just be open to the way they're received. And if you feel like it hasn't landed for you or you don't receive it, go back, try to remove a little attachment, surrender a little more, let it flow, go back and try to redo the sign and redo the why and put some more fun and playfulness around it if you can. I understand the depths of grief may not allow this. And if that feels like where you are, I hear you and it is okay. And there is nothing that you are doing wrong. Just know that whatever that sign of love is for you, it can feel as simple as feeling a complete hug out of nowhere or being held through a situation. And if you get the feeling, the noticing, or the understanding of, oh, that's my loved one, I just know they're there, that is a sign enough. That is more than enough. Trust that feeling, trust that nudge, trust they are with you, because sometimes that is far more powerful than any physical sign that you're asking for, is the feeling of their presence and their warmth and their love as if they were right there with you. If this sparks something in you, if you were like, oh yeah, I really needed to talk about signs and remember what it's like to set them, and maybe remove a little bit of my expectation and add a little more surrender, then I invite you to subscribe for all things energy intuition, psychic mediumship, and returning to your intuitive signal through the noise of life.